It's tempting to always look at the newest trends and what's happening in the mainstream to find your style inspiration. And I'm partly to blame for that, to be honest, because I release videos on my channel that talk about existing or upcoming trends. However, you and I might be severely limiting ourselves if we only look at what's in front of us. Sometimes it's worth looking back and seeing what's already been done, tried and true fashion rules that could still be applied today. So I'm going to talk about what some of those are and how you could use them in your everyday outfits. But do keep in mind, just like anything else, these aren't rules to be followed to the letter, in my opinion. Pick and choose the ones that work for you and make sense in your world, and if none of them do, that's totally fine. One of the biggest quote-unquote fashion rules back in the day wasn't really a rule at all. It's the simple fact that form followed function. In other words, clothes and shoes were made to be as functional as possible with a specific purpose in mind. And a side effect of that was that they happened to be beautifully designed as well, and this still applies today. When you think of some of the most iconic fashion pieces or outfits, they're often a result of function. For example, workwear with denim jeans or heavy canvas jackets, military wear with cargo pants, boots, bomber jackets, sportswear with jersey tops and sneakers such as Converse and Gats. And then when you think of some of the least stylish pieces ever, something they often have in common is that they're not very functional at all. Needless zippers, fake pockets, faux undershirts. It looks naff.
This is just a zip. There's no pocket to this zip.
So?
In a way, form over function is the beginning of what we'd call today personal style. Personal style is one of those kind of overused buzzwords in fashion, but it does have its place. When you look at an outfit that's timeless, a lot of reasons why it's working is because it's a reflection of that person's actual lifestyle. In other words, it's functional for what they do or did back in the day. Now, of course, we're not all labourers and soldiers, so I'm not saying those styles should be gatekept to those in the profession. What I'm saying is that because the clothes they're wearing are functional, they look stylish. And I have my own personal example. I've never worn suits or blazers casually until very recently because my lifestyle hasn't really called for it. When I was 18, still in university, it would have looked kind of odd for me to turn up to a casual occasion in a blazer. I'm not saying it would have looked bad, but just a little bit confusing. Nowadays with work, going to more mature events, it makes a lot more sense for my personal lifestyle. And this kind of thinking transfers to a lot of timeless outfits. It's just as much about the person wearing them and their story as it is about the individual pieces that they're wearing. I've rambled on a bit here, but the gist of it is, wearing something that has meaning or a connection to you will always look timeless. The next rule is very much connected to the last point, and it's the importance of a good fit. Now I know that's a bit of a generic statement on its own, so let's break it down. Functional clothes need to fit well to fulfill their purpose. Think back to some of those examples we just talked about. Work jackets need to be shorter in length so people can access their tool belts or ride horses without restriction. Military wear needs to look smart to show dedication and compliance, whilst also being rugged enough for practical use. Sportswear needs to be on the more fitted side so people can be athletic in them without being weighed down. And what these all seem to have in common is that not always, but generally, timeless outfits and clothes are on the slimmer to more regular fitting side, with pants that fit neatly around the waist and then near or just over your shoes, button-ups and t-shirts that are flattering to your physique, sweaters and outwear that keeps you warm and gives you some presence without overdoing it. When you start looking at modern trends of really baggy and oversized things, big flared pants that drag on the floor, giant shoes, or tops that are extremely tight or cropped in length, but those styles will come and go. It's inevitable because they're not very functional. If you want to make your life easier, then sticking somewhere in the middle, i.e. classically fitting pieces as a rule, might be the way for you. Another rule you'll see followed in all timeless and classic outfits is the intentional use of colour and patterns. A pop of colour or interesting pattern can make a big difference when used correctly, but too much can ruin it, taking attention away from where it matters, and in some cases looking a bit costumey as well. Generally, timeless outfits will stick to sensible colour palettes, making use of the colour wheel to find things that complement each other, as well as matching colour temperature to skin tones. You hardly ever see metallics, neons, vibrant patterns, and that's because timeless outfits aren't trying too hard to stand out and get the most attention possible. When colours and patterns are used, it's tasteful, often just one statement piece. Most of the rest of the outfit colour will be more understated and neutral, and the patterns used are classics such as plaid, pinstripe, herringbone. You can't really go wrong applying this kind of thinking of colour and pattern to your rotation, because it will always look good. Although this isn't strictly a rule about clothing, it still plays a huge part in style and fashion, and it's taking pride in your appearance. Timeless outfits never look scruffy or unkept, and this takes several forms. For example, keeping your haircuts and facial hair looking sharp. I'm definitely not saying you need to be clean shaven with slicked back gentlemanly hair every day, but just having it under control can make a big difference. Also, general hygiene and just looking after yourself. Cut your nails, use deodorant, stay clean and showered. Use moisturizer to stop your skin from drying out. And then on the actual clothing side of things, wash your clothes, iron your shirts, use a lint roller to keep fur and dust off. These are very small things, but they will add up to make a huge difference. Building them into your daily routine so they become a habit is well worth it, and is something I'd class as a timeless rule of looking good. The next rule that will never go out of style is the importance of quality. Again, this is something that would have been an absolute necessity in the past, because clothes were meant to last a long time, and so there was an emphasis on using better fabrics. But these have become a bit of a luxury in today's world. The idea of your clothes being well made from good materials is almost a lost art in 2025. With ultra cheap prices and everything being so accessible, we're almost encouraged to take part in this throwaway culture. It's like one and done. Clothes have almost become disposable, and inevitably, clothes that are made to fit this framework tend to look terrible a lot of the time. Cheap synthetic materials where they're not needed, poor quality craftsmanship leading to weird fitting pieces. It's kind of sad that 100% cotton has become a selling point for t-shirts these days, when it should be the norm. If you want a timeless looking wardrobe, then you need to concentrate and invest into quality pieces. Better materials will sit nicer on your body, they will age gracefully, and of course, they will last much longer. Look at the labels, check for named leather tanneries, know who you're buying from. And don't be afraid to save up to get the right thing. It might take a little longer to get what you want, but it will make a world of difference in the end. The right footwear is of course a huge part of timeless fashion. They make up like 10% of the outfit, but they have 100% impact. And if you really want to boil them down to a rule that will always look classic, then in my opinion it's black smart shoes, brown casual smart boots, and white casual sneakers. The boots and shoes are interchangeable, but you can't go wrong with this general formula, and it's what people have been doing for years. So for the black smart shoes, you've got loafers, derbies, brogues. Boots, you've got service boots, military boots, Chelsea boots. And for sneakers, you could go for white canvas, suede or leather. Some obvious picks are Gats, Converse, Chucks, Vans. These are all just examples. Take your pick from the styles and materials you like within those categories. But if you start going for colours that are a bit out there, like purples, greens, metallics, it can be quite difficult to style them, and you might find yourself pigeonholed into having to wear specific clothes that will work with those shoes. Whereas if you keep it classic and timeless, you'll open yourself up to a lot more versatility, and you'll be able to hang on to those shoes for years to come. So there's some fashion and styling rules that I think could be applied forever, no matter what the year is and no matter what the trends are doing. I'd love to know your thoughts on these. Is there anything you'd add or take away? Do let us know down in the comments. But anyway, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Ta-ra.